right, this is the Chapter 16 Fair Game Review. And you know what that means? That's right. This is the last chapter of your pre-algebra 7th grade year. Isn't that awesome? And the Chapter 16 Fair Game Review, which is page 365 and 366 in your journal if you wanted to know, isn't too hard. So that's awesome. Let's get going here. So really, we're just doing the order of operations. Remember, there are no parentheses here, so the first thing we'll do is this exponent. So everything else stays the same. 2 plus 1 times, that becomes 4 times 4 is 16, minus 12 divided by 3. Now we do our multiplication and division from left to right. 2 plus 1 times 16 is 16, minus 12 divided by 3, which is 4. Addition and subtraction from left to right. 2 plus 16 is 18, minus 4 is 14. Well, that was quick, and that was easy. And number 2. First thing we'll do here is our exponents, because there are no parentheses. So 8 times 8 is 64, divided by 16 times 2 minus 5. Well, 64 divided by 16 is 4. And then 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, 8 minus 5, and then you do 8 minus 5, and you get 3, of course. Make sure you're going from left to right, because if you had done this multiplication before you did this division, you'd have been in trouble. But left to right, and we'll get it right. I just made that up. You can go ahead and make money on that if you want. So here we go from left to right again. This time parentheses. Now some people will say, oh, hey, we should do the distributive property here. And if you do the distributive property correctly, you actually would still get this right, but do the parentheses first and make life easier. So now this becomes 7 times 9 minus 3 is 6, plus 6 squared times 10 minus 8. The next thing we do is this exponent. So we have 7 times 6 plus 6 times 6 is 36 times 10 minus 8. Multiplication and division from left to right gives us 42 plus 360 minus 8. Well, 42 plus 360 is 402. Minus 8 would be 394. And over here, parentheses again first. So 3 times 5 minus 10 plus 9 times 2 plus 3 squared. So, 2 plus 1, which is 3, and then squared. So now we do our exponent. We get 3 times 5 minus 10 plus 9 times 3 times 3 is 9. So 9 times 9 is what we've got on the end there. I don't do that one first, even though it doesn't affect this one. We go from left to right, and this is 15 minus 10 plus 81. 15 minus 10 is 5, and 5 plus 81 is 86. And there we have it. Here we go. 8 times 11, doing in parentheses first, minus. Now, here in parentheses, I've got two things, and I have to do my exponent first. So this would become 81 plus 3 in parentheses, and 81 plus 3 is 84 divided by 7. Now I go left to right. 8 times 11 is 88 minus, and 84 divided by 7 is 12. 88 minus 12 is 76. Number 6. Now inside the brackets, we have some parentheses. So now they use brackets and parentheses so we don't get confused of the same thing. So not two pair of parentheses or anything. So we go inside first. So now this becomes 5 bracket 3 times 12 minus 8 is 4. Bracket minus 6 times 8 plus 2 squared. Now we go to brackets, and this becomes 5 times 12 minus 6 times 8 plus 2 squared. Now I do my exponents. 5 times 12 minus 6 times 8 plus 4. Now I do my multiplication. 60 minus 48 plus 4. 60 minus 48 is 12 plus 4 is 16. Here it says evaluate the expression. So now we've got to just go and do this just like we were doing those earlier ones. And we do the parentheses first. So 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9. So now this becomes 4 plus 5 times 2 times 5 plus 9 times 6 plus 2 plus 2. Multiplying from left to right, 5 times 2 is 10, times 5 is 50. So this is 4 plus 50 plus 9 times 6 times 6. So 9 times 6 is 54, and 54 times 6 is 324. 324 plus 2 plus 2. And now I can add from left to right. 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 50 is 58, plus 324 would be 382, plus 2, 386. 386. Rewrite the expression using what you know about order of operations, then evaluate. Well, we could just keep it the same, but rewriting it with order of operations, we could combine 4 plus 4 into 4 times 2. Plus, and this would be, I got a 5 times 2 times 5. That could be 5 squared times that 2. So 2 times 5 is just times 5 squared. And then, you know what, since I use parentheses there, let's use parentheses here too. Put them in there. Plus, and now I've got this 3 plus 3 plus 3, which is not 3 cubed, but it is 3 squared, because 3 plus 3 plus 3 is the same as 3 times 3, which is 3 squared. So 3 squared times 6 times 6, which is 6 squared, plus 2 plus 2, which is 2 times 2, which is 2 squared. Wow, there we go. So 4 times 2 plus 2 times 5 squared plus 3 squared times 6 squared plus 2 squared would be another way that we could have rewritten that. Now back on this side, on the second side, I'm not going to show you all the work on these because I know you know how to do these, but remember when you multiply these, 3 and 92 hundredths times 6 tenths, that you multiply as normal, but then it'll have 3 numbers behind the decimal because in your product, because you had 3 numbers behind the decimal in your factors. So the answer for number 8 would be 2 and 352 thousandths. For number 9, same kind of thing, except you'll have 4 numbers, 4 digits behind the decimal, and you would end up with 0 and 1,014 10,000ths is the way to say that one. It shows it a little nicer here with number 10. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 digits behind the 0, so you'll have 4 digits behind the 0 for number 10, which will give you 6 and 48 10,000ths again. Tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths. For number 11, a division problem. Remember, when you divide this, you're going to set it up. This is what goes outside the box. So 0.7 outside the box, 6.3 inside, but you've got to move the decimal 1 spot. You move the decimal 1 spot, and 7 goes into 63, of course, 9 times. So your answer would be 9 with the decimal right back here, which you don't need, but definitely don't put it up here. For number 12, same kind of thing where you'll move the decimal 1 spot each number here. And so number 12 becomes 1 and 5 tenths. For number 13, wow, you've got to move that decimal 3 spots. If you multiply the outside here by 1,000 and move it 3 spots, you multiply the inside by 1,000 and move it 3 spots. So your final answer here is 2,000 $700. And then finally, if grapes cost $1.98 a pound and you buy 3.5 pounds of grapes, how much do you pay for the grapes? $6.93, of course, with a quick multiplication problem. Excellent.